طبعا ما زلنا مستكملين يعني جلساتنا النقاشية والحوارية لمؤتمر سلاسل الإمداد في النسخة السادسة. اليوم الثاني، وفي هذه الجلسة أو في هذه الحلقة النقاشية سوف نتحدث عن الموانئ السعودية، أكثر أو أكبر من 20 ميناء في العالم في خارطة الطريق لفرص أعمال جديدة. تفاصيل سوف نناقشها مع الأستاذ الرئيس التنفيذي لميناء الملك عبدالله، والأستاذ محمد شهاب المدير التنفيذي في ميرسك السعودية العربية، والأستاذ بول هستبيك الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة فلك البحرية، والمهندس تركي بن فهد الخريف المدير العام لإدارة الموانئ والخدمات البحرية شركة علم. وسيدير الجلسة الدكتور بندر الطبيشي وكيل كلية إدارة الأعمال للشؤون الأكاديمية جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا. تفضلوا جميعا، حياكم.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon. We are here to explore the exciting topic of Saudi ports, specifically how they can become leaders among the top 20 ports globally and create new business opportunities. The maritime and logistics sectors are undergoing rapid transformation, and in this panel discussion, we have an exceptional group of experts who are at forefront of this evolution. Please welcome with me Mr. Jay New and Mr. Mohammad Shihab, Mr. Poul Hestbaek, Engineer Turkey الخريف. It's good. Thank you for joining us today. Before we start, can everyone tell us about his position and what attracted him to join? Mr. J, can you go first?
Doctor, thank you very much for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for welcoming us on stage. It's an honor to be here today. My name is Jay New. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of King Abdullah Port in the Red Sea. I've actually been working in Saudi Arabia now for close to 12 years. Before that, I was working in the Eastern Province in the port of Dammam. I have a background in both shipping and ports. So I spent half of my career with Maersk Line, like my colleague here, Mohammad, running ships around the world. I then joined Hutchison Ports, where we were making port investments around mainly in Africa and the Middle East. I think what attracted me to this position was, first and foremost, the welcome I had in Saudi Arabia. So I enjoyed my 7 years in the Eastern Province and the opportunity to extend that in the Red Sea. It was eagerly anticipated and certainly lived up to expectations. But I saw the opportunity in King Abdullah Port as combining my background of shipping and ports together. The vision there to create a mega hub in the Red Sea, the natural alignment with the port's vision and the Vision 2030 of the country, I saw as a perfect fit. There were lots of plans ahead for expansion, growth, and I think most importantly, value creation. And it was an exciting opportunity. I was delighted to be able to be offered the position, and it certainly lived up to all expectations.
Thank you. Mr. Shihab. It's not yet.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be up here on stage. Jay, I wasn't aware you were here for 12 years. I thought I was the longest serving. So I've been. My name is Mohammad Shihab. I'm the managing director of Mيرسك, Saudi Arabia area. So we're actually managing the kingdom here, but a few other countries as well in the region. I've been in the kingdom since 2016. Since 2016. It's, I think it's at a fantastic time, alhamdulillah, to be here.
Right.
I came around the same time the vision was formulated. It has been an extremely a great journey for both myself and for the Mيرسك team here in the kingdom. Throughout the time, so when we started out here a few years ago, we were very much a shipping line. But sometime around 2019, we also pivoted to become an integrated logistics company. And with that, it opened up even more opportunities for expansion. And as Jay mentioned, I think what Mيرسك has been doing has been very aligned with the vision. So we found some really exciting opportunities to invest and to grow the business here. So it's been a very good journey so far. Thank you.
Paul, would you tell us, please?
Thank you, and thank you for being here. Good to be there. We're in some good hands with you, so thank you very much. My name is Poul Hestbaek. I have 40 plus years in shipping. As a matter of fact, I started out as a farmer many years back, but then I realized as a farmer you have to get up in the morning very, very early. So I decided to shift, and I went to sea, and I have a captain's degree, so I've been on ships for 15 years. And the last 25 years I have been in containers, have been my destiny, different places around the world. I am the CEO of Fulk Maritime. So Fulk is a newly established company that has the brief to operate in the Middle East, so in the Red Sea and the Gulf, Indian subcontinent and East Africa. We started operation early this year in April, and we are slowly scaling up, first as a feeder operator connecting the Saudi ports with the ports
if
in
you
the
don't mind,
region.
can we leave the details for later?
We can leave that later on, yes, sorry, I was trying to... Why was it so interesting to get this job? I mean, nowadays it's very, very rarely, and I feel myself very, very lucky that you get an opportunity to start a new shipping company. Because nowadays, all the shipping companies that we need, they are almost there. They are done already.
Yeah.
But this one, there was an opportunity, and it was an opportunity here in the Middle East, where you have the biggest engine of all, Saudi Arabia, to push this forward and to make this as a significant element, not just for the region, but also as part of the 2030 visions. So it was impossible to find any reason not to accept this job. And I have enjoyed it the first year that I've been here.
We're glad to have you here. Engineer Turkey, would you please?
Thank you, Doctor. I'm really glad to be here today. My name is Tركي الخريف. I'm the GM of Port and Maritime Solutions in Alm Company. I think Alm Company is well known here in Saudi Arabia. We are providing pioneer solutions to the government and also the private sectors in many industries, actually. One of the main industries we are focused on is the logistics services. We have many aspects, and once we come to logistics, we are working with air, maritime and ports, sea as well, land and customs solution. And thank you for you, Dr. Bandar, for having us today and have a good discussion. Hope so.
Thank you. Shall we start? Jay, King Abdullah Ports has become a crucial hub in the Red Sea. Can you please tell us what strategic initiatives are being implemented to ensure it remains globally competitive?
Thank you for the question. I always like strategy questions. You can go to town on those. I think, Doctor, you were telling me that you're responsible for teaching the future maritime staff in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
And I often describe the opportunities in Saudi. If you were to start with a blank piece of paper and say, I want a hypothetical example of a country with all the opportunities in the world, you would create a country like Saudi Arabia with 2 coastlines, thousands of kilometers of coast, a link with the capital city, the main consumption area in the middle, and on the main highway of global trade. And this is exactly what Saudi Arabia has. It's pretty unique around the world, and given that 30% of all containers sail past the Red Sea every day, the opportunities in King Abdullah Port are huge. And so the decisions that set the tone of the future were agreed 10 years ago when we designed the port. So we decided to design a port with linear quays, straight quays, 18 meters of depth, expansion up to 26 million containers. This is far in excess of anything that you have actually in the Gulf at the moment. And the critical factors were that you would have these deep water berths. You would connect them to logistics facilities because you need that to support the activities in the port. And most critically, there would be a link to the railway, the Saudi land bridge that will be developed. In terms of maritime and logistics projects, I can't think of any other project around the world in the next decade that will leverage such significance in terms of influencing and impacting the logistics flow. Here you will have a railway that opens up transportation from the Red Sea to the Gulf through Riyadh. And what we did in King Abdullah Port was make sure we had a good design to start with and room to grow and expand. So pretty much the expansion opportunities for King Abdullah Port northbound along the Red Sea are limitless. You could build a port as big as you would ever want globally to be able to do that. And so I tell you this story and you say, well, is this true, Jay? Is what you created good for the future? Well, in 2021, the World Bank recognized King Abdullah Port as the world's most efficient port. We're delighted to have this award, and it's given for a number of reasons. Part of it is because of our design, because we have these straight quays and the deep water and the highest and the cranes with the longest outreach capable of very high levels of productivity. But it's also due to automation, digitization of the customs clearance process, our interaction with the customs authorities, the maritime authorities that clear cargo in and out of the port. And an award like this, it's fantastic to achieve it in 2021, but because of the good groundwork, the solid foundation that we put in the port, I believe King Abdullah Port will be consistently high-performing port for the future. This should last for decades into the future. And this allows King Abdullah Port, on behalf of Saudi in many ways, to attract the main lines into the port. This provides Saudi Arabia, Saudi cargo owners, cargo exporters, cargo importers, access to the biggest ships in the world that serve directly the main trade routes from Asia to Saudi Arabia, from Europe, America to Saudi Arabia. We're not looking at linking through other areas. These ships are calling here directly, and they offer the fastest service, they offer the economies of scale and the best freight rates, competitive freight rates. And this in turn allows Saudi Arabia to grow. We provide that foundation upon which all of the imports, the projects, the construction activities that are going to take place in Saudi over the next decade, upon which they can build and be successful.
I believe you have done a great job, and the great yet to come, too. I would like to hear from Engineer Turkey, please. With the push toward digitalization in logistics sectors, how is Ilm contributing to enhance feasibility and improve efficiency in Saudi ports?
Thank you, Doctor, for the question.
Would you just please put the microphone close?
Thank you, Doctor, for the question. Actually, we are very lucky in Saudi Arabia because You know, in Saudi Arabia, the infrastructure of technology is in place since a while. So really, it is our job now to build upon and above this kind of infrastructure. So here in Ilm, we see ourselves as a key enabler for the digital transformation of Saudi logistics sector. We are not just providing technology here, we are helping to shape the future actually of maritime and industry by enhancing transparency, improve the efficiency, and support the goal of vision of Saudi Arabia 2030. And also to be more specific, we are actually working in 5 pillars. Pillar number 1, which is enable to digital transformation of logistics sectors, driving the innovation, the efficiency of the ports as well. Number 2, advanced technology by leveraging the artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and this is actually requiring what I said in the beginning, the infrastructure of things. We are, for example, in Saudi, we have the 5G, which is covering the most and whole of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is helping us to leverage on Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, and we are lucky to leverage this. This will help us to boost the operational, of course, efficiency once we use the artificial intelligence and advanced technology. Number 3, real-time tracking, which is one of the solutions that has to be provided to the market. So we have, for example, an update on the vessel arrivals, cargo movement, port bottlenecks, and this kind of data and information gives a visibility to the users and to the beneficiaries. Number 4, the enhanced transparency by offering access to the live data, which going to improve the decision making and foster the trust of the whole supply chain in the ports and maritime. Number 5, and finally, the seamless integration. Ilm's solutions is integrated with the government platforms and also the industry stakeholders from public and private and semi-private stakeholders, ensuring the smooth and connection of the data flow.
That's great. Do you recall any platform that you have used in any ports or to help all the maritime operation?
Of course. Actually, in Ilm we have many platforms which is operating inside the ports and also around the ports as well. We have the PCS, which is in support and partnership with Mowanet, and also we have the TMS as well, which is a truck management system and the appointment system for trucks, which is already operated and gives a good visibility and also operational efficiency to the ports.
It's great. Mohammed, Meirsek has long history in global shipping. Given your expertise, how do you see digital solution in Saudi ports, and are they helping Meirsek logistic hubs in unlock new business opportunity?
Absolutely. I want to maybe take Yani from what Turkey mentioned. First of all, you know, when we started, or at least when I started here 9 years ago, the customs processes as part of the digital solutions was a far cry from where it is today. Just in terms of numbers, on average, it would take easily 7+ days, maybe even up to 14 days to clear an import cargo. But with a lot of the digital advancements that the kingdom underwent, we're looking at certain things that now are cleared in hours, an average of 1 day for a significant percentage of the cargo. So this is an enormous improvement. Now, what is this important for? Of course, it is improvement for the local shipper, importer or exporter, but largely for the import shipments. This is where it tends to grind a little more. But it is also extremely important to continue to advance these processes for something that's very important for the kingdom, which is transshipment cargo. It's nice to be here amongst partners and friends. So I think both Paul and Jay would know a lot about this and ourselves, because there's a lot of conversations between us and each other, and between us and the government as well, in terms of increasing the footprint of Saudi. I think Jay mentioned it very well in terms of the position of the kingdom on the highway from east to west, where a significant percentage of shipping lines are also passing through. Utilizing the kingdom for transshipment is a key priority for the kingdom in Vision 2030. So digitization plays a really, really big part. If I may maybe also expand a little bit beyond digitization in your question, and say that a big focus for many of the companies is also infrastructure. Just expanding and developing the infrastructure, and there's so much that it could serve in terms of achieving the potential of the kingdom, but also achieving the unique position and the location to serve its neighboring locations, be it Africa, be it the Middle East, and so on. So there's a lot of focus, whether from Maersk or other business units and other companies as well, in developing this infrastructure for the stakeholders inside the kingdom, but also to develop it in terms of becoming a global and regional hub as well.
Interesting. Let me ask you, in how many ports in Saudi Arabia do you operate? Yes, Shihab. In how many ports in Saudi Arabia Maersk operate?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just fixing the mic. So we're present in King Abdullah. We're present in Jeddah, Islamic Port. We're present in Dammam and Jubail. So these are the main ones we call actively. And then we'd have some other activities outside of those, including dry ports in the kingdom as well. But these would be our main ports. So essentially the main ports in the kingdom, we serve them.
Almost everywhere.
Almost everywhere. Yeah.
Paul, thank you. Paul, Falk Maritime, as you had just mentioned, launched in 2024. How do you plan to foster collaboration with other industry leaders and local businesses and government entities to drive growth and expand business opportunities in the region?
Thank you. It's when you are a startup, you depend on collaboration. First and foremost, I think you need to have a strong shareholder, which we have in regards of the PIF. But you need government officials to help you to foster the framework that you need. So it's clear that first and foremost, the collaboration we have had with Mawani on general terms on how can we bring the 2030 vision to fruition. That has been a very, very important part. As we are regularly active in 5 ports, and we have operation in 6. So we are quite big. We actually only miss Jasan. It's the one we haven't covered yet. So it's clear that we have a cooperation with Mawani to make sure that we can work together on that. The second part we have is, of course, also with the TGA when it comes to the ships, the registration, the qualification we have, the crewing of the vessels has also been a very important strategic platform for us to develop. So that's on the government side. I think the next one, which is perhaps, it's definitely one of the biggest challenges we have, is access to talents. Because in Saudi Arabia, there's a lot of people in logistics, but a very, very few in container shipping, really managing the ship. So one of the things we're looking at, and we of course has a strong focus on not just diversification, but also on Saudi talents, that these are some of the things that we have had to hire expert from outside of the kingdom, but eventually we hope that we can replace them with good qualified people or young people from within Saudi Arabia. Even eventually my own position, I hope so. Then I have been really successful. If the day that I have to retire, that I will be replaced by a Saudi, that would make me really, really happy. So I think the talent is some of the things that we will be working at. If we move a little bit beyond that and we talk into the 2030 vision, because Folk Maritime is really a key part of the 2030 vision. We are, so to say, the glue that has to add all the different players together. So we are the one who has to connect the different Saudi ports, for one thing. We are the one who has to connect to the adjacent ports in the Upper Gulf, in the Red Sea, and eventually also India subcontinent and East Africa. So these connecting points that will allow the logistic structure, the logistic flow between those points, and hopefully with a strong hub anchor in Jeddah, King Abdullah, and in Dammam in the Gulf. So to make this all work, you depend on collaboration. You depend on collaboration because not one single unit, even as mighty as you may be, you cannot pull this off together. Because nowadays, the way I see it is, shipping has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. But you know, we are more and more specialized, so you are seeing new startups that has specific, very, very good solution on a specific point. And I think that in general has always been my mantra, but now specifically in the case of Folk, you have to partner up with the best, because the best will make you better. And that's, you know, the strategy that we have gone, whether this is partnering up with the Mيرسك or partnering up with King Abdullah ports, or it's the same logic here. The better I can bring experts, the better product I will be able to offer my customers. And I think that's the essence that we have in the 2030 vision of the kingdom, that we all have to know that by being together and accepting somebody who is specialized in a field that we are not as good in, that's going to bring everybody on a better level. So that collaboration, I think, is very, very important on many, many levels.
Thank you, Paul. You just mentioned interesting point about the short and talented and skilled young generation in the maritime and logistic industry. I want to mention this. Ministry of Transportation and Logistic Services are working on this with a lot of training courses and sending student and giving student scholarship. And I believe in the future we're going to have a young generation who's talented and skilled. This is going to lead me to the question to all of you. This is the same case in King Abdullah Port and Alm or Mيرسك? Do you feel there is a short of talented and skilled young generation?
I think we have been blessed with fantastic talents, alhamdulillah, in at least our journey. I think, just to speak casually about it, but I think over the period of a few decades, there's been significant scholarships that the kingdom has invested in talents going abroad and returning. And we were lucky to bring many of them into Mيرسك, Saudi Arabia. And I think it's a journey that we began 9 or so years ago, entry-level roles. Many of them have stayed. Many of them have, taken senior roles up the ranks. Many of them happily, and I say that with pride, many of them left to senior roles in other companies, and we're always happy to see that happen as well. Just to be an incubation, a location for certain talents like that. It might not be the case that we found specifically specialized shipping and logistics talents, and of course sometimes that is a little rarer to find, but I think we found the correct attitude, the willingness to learn, the willingness to put in the hours. We certainly saw that. I saw that firsthand. I'm very proud of the people that I got to interact and work with. I think it's also important that the companies develop certain programs. So one that I'm always happy to highlight in an occasion like this is maybe a recent one with the launch of the big project that we have in Jeddah Islamic Port, the Mers Logistics Park. We've co-launched a female logistics academy. So it doesn't only focus on talents from the kingdom, but it also focuses on inclusion of Saudi females in an industry that isn't traditionally accommodating of females. We don't only have desk jobs, but we also have training programs for roles in our facilities and things of the sort. It's been, I think actually it's been a very inspiring journey to be part of that here.
If you allow me also to add up to what Mr. Mohammed said, also I think there is a new academy which just introduced a couple of years back, which is to the logistics academy actually, which has had a lot of improvement in getting skills and talents in the market. So I think also luckily in Saudi Arabia, because we just had a lot of improvements in terms of talent and people. So yeah, I think today we are not any more short in terms of talent and laborers as well.
Jay?
Yeah, I'd echo what Mohammed says. We're blessed with good local talent, and I have to say, it's been a huge honor and a pleasure to work with the Saudis that I have in the 12 years that I've been here. Fantastically educated, motivated, and eager to develop and improve. I think the vision for transport and logistics in Saudi Arabia is so exciting for the future. It's certainly one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to staying engaged with this. Mm-hmm. I think what I would encourage any Saudi in terms of looking to develop and expand their career is to take any and all opportunities to look outside of the kingdom. There are lots of great examples around the world of things that have gone well. There are also examples of things that haven't. And I think they're also valuable experiences. I know that the foreign logistics companies who are investing in the kingdom, like Mers, will happily take their Saudi staff and the Saudi opportunities and show them these experiences around the world. And I think this is the opportunity, is to go and have a look at what's worked, what's not worked, and bring the best back into Saudi. The plans now are beginning, and they're going to be fast-tracked. When you see the development plans for Saudi in the next 10 years, this is now the opportunity on which to build. So go and look, go and maybe work overseas, or when you're traveling overseas, knock on the door of somebody who can take you around a port or talk to a shipping office there, and bring the best back to Saudi Arabia.
Great, thank you. These days, emerging markets, especially in Africa and Asia, are reshaping global trade dynamic with their rapid growth and increasing demand on connectivity. Jay, given King Abdullah Port's strategic position on the Red Sea and its focus on innovation, how will developments at King Abdullah Ports enhance the kingdom connection to the global market?
So I think I mentioned in my opening remarks that because of the technical advantages King Abdullah Port has in its port facility, the big ships, the ships that go from Asia to Europe, they stop in King Abdullah Port. And that's good. It brings economies of scale and a fast transit time. But what it also brings are opportunities to trade and develop within the region. We've seen historically around the world how a few North European ports and South Asian ports that acted as hubs that facilitated the growth and the trade in those areas. for many of the recent years, the hub in the Middle East has been in the Gulf. But I think now is the opportunity to change that. And not least because this is the natural pipeline. This is where 30% of containers sail every day. And you have an opportunity to use this facility to connect that cargo to the Middle East, Indian subcontinent, Indian Ocean islands, and to Africa. It benefits those countries in terms of having access and connectivity, but it also allows Saudi Arabia to participate in the trading to those countries. So there are a number of initiatives now to create special economic zones, manufacturing facilities that will then have direct access to these neighboring facilities. And I think that is very exciting. The exports from Saudi Arabia in the last 2 or 3 decades have unsurprisingly been predominantly petro-focused. But I've seen a huge change in the kingdom. Invest in Saudi, made in Saudi. Saudi Arabia now wants to export. And the market is pretty much untapped. And you sit in this geographically fantastic location, and you already have the connectivity to those nations and those countries around you. And I think this is a huge opportunity. Africa is on your doorstep. It's a continent crying out for trading partners and opportunities. And I think that's an activity that we should be seizing hold of here, given the logistics and transportation advantages that we have.
Interesting. Shihab, as you said, Mيرسك is everywhere. What logistical challenges or opportunities do you see in linking these markets with Saudi ports?
I think what Jay said was really correct in terms of how much of an opportunity the ports in Jeddah have in terms of connecting the neighboring geographies. If I'm to say it maybe in a more blunt way, I think it's a still under-tapped opportunity. Saudi Arabia now has world-class terminals and ports that are utilized so far as gateways, more so than they are utilized in their full potential as transshipment. I may be repeating a lot of what Jay mentioned, but the location, the quality of the infrastructure, I think demands more. The question is, what's stopping it? I think there's a lot of stickiness in some of the legacy players. It's hard to make these moves, but once the move happens, the stickiness comes here. So I think there is certainly an opportunity for facilities such as King Abdullah. I think King Abdullah has enormous potential also to serve the region for transshipment and things of the sort. And other than the 30% that was mentioned by Jay, there's also how much Saudi can also serve the GCC market. Saudi Arabia can and should be also a natural gateway to many of the GCC countries, and Jeddah and King Abdullah and the Western province in general can certainly add value to that. I think there's been a major upgrade on a major leap forward in terms of logistics infrastructures, in terms of the types of updates that also Turkey mentioned in terms of the legislation or the processes related to some of either gateway or transshipment. So I think a lot of these challenges have already been tackled, and it's just a matter of also emphasizing. And I know that the Saudi Port Authority and Moani is emphasizing all the parties, from shipping lines to terminals and port operators as well, to utilize and arrive at that potential. So I think the future is bright in that sense, that the location and the infrastructure of Saudi can really go forward and service the neighboring geographies in a substantially bigger way. I will say just one thing, because you mentioned the emerging economies. In our business, by far the fastest growing markets are the ones in the Middle East, Indian subcontinent, and Africa. And Saudi sits right in the middle of that. So the ability to utilize and leverage that location is certainly something that can and should be utilized. And exactly as also Jay mentioned, it also, you know, when you leverage your transshipment position, it also creates opportunities for a lot more of the local businesses to happen as well. So there's a lot of potential for that to still take place.
Thank you. Great to know that the private sector at Mيرسك seeing our ports doing very well, and they have a bright future. Paul, from your perspective as a maritime operator, how can independent players like Falk Maritime align with Saudi ports to enhance connectivity and attract trade from these emerging markets?
Thank you. I think let me just give a comment on what Shahib was mentioning before, because I think one of the important things that we want to create in the 2030 vision with the logistic hub here, it's not a good business just to bring a container in, park it in a terminal, and a few days later you load it out on another ship. There's very little value creation in it. If you look to our brothers in the Emirates, you know, one of the things that really catapult what they're capable of doing is the free zones that allows cargo to be discharged, to be relabeled, to be somehow processed, and then it's going to be shipped out in smaller parcel or bigger parcel, and then you send it off to Ethiopia, to Sudan, to Egypt. So I think that in order for this to really get a turbo on this potential big engine here, we need to have the free zone space, because that's where the added value is. That's where there's extra incomes. That's where there's a lot of jobs around these. So I think these are a very important element. Coming back to, you know, what we feel, and there I'm coming back to what was mentioned before as well, that we are seeing, you know, trading patterns are changing. The big global trunk lanes from Asia to Europe to US and et cetera, they will always be there, and they are going through the Red Sea, as Jay was saying. But what we are seeing as well is that you see much and more in this geopolitical uncertainty. You see a much more like nearshoring, you see friendshoring. Now you want to deal with your friends. And Mr. Modi for India has made trade agreement with every single country in the Middle East for sure, and most of Africa. So what we are seeing is that we are going to see that India will become the source of many more things and more advanced commodities that's going to feed the Middle East and East Africa and even North Africa as well. And I think there we have to take that opportunity. This is one of the places where Fulk will be strong. We will move in and be a significant, we will be a significant player from India into the Gulf and from India into the Red Sea and eventually also into East Africa. Because we see that the trade is growing and the share of sophistication of this volume is increasing, which can talk into this free zone logic that we can then serve the African continent or part, or at least the east coast of it, in smaller parcel, be flexible. From Jeddah, we can send it by plane, we can send it a pallet, a shoebox, a full container. We are all there, and we will be there to help facilitate that. I think from a Fulk perspective, which is one of the uniqueness from our side, is we have to build, it's a very clear mandate we have to build the connectivity to the secondary ports in Saudi Arabia. We were the first one who had a weekly service every week from Jeddah to Neom. We have every week Yanbu back to Jeddah that can then connect the chemical export out of Yanbu. We can connect it to the world via Jeddah. So we are doing this connectivity. We are working on projects with Jubail and Sihanouk, and eventually we're also going to be in Jazan, because that's part of the brief that we will support give the connectivity for the industries that sits in those secondary port area, which today has been spending a lot of trucking to get to the main port like Jeddah and Dammam. So these are some of the key elements that we want to build. We also believe that we talk about digital, we talk about visibility. Customers, they want visibility. They want to know where's my cargo. They want to be able to look into an app. They want to be able to have that visibility. It's an assurance that I know that my cargo is arriving in 24 hours or 36 hours. And one of the things that we took as a decision, which is very expensive and it's unique as a regional operator, is that we are installing GPS tracker on every single container. And we are installing it in a way that if you open up the door, then you as the cargo owner will know that now the door is being opened. So we're doing that because we see this visibility that it becomes more and more important. We see that it's the customer base becomes smaller and smaller. We're talking about medium-sized customers. That is our bread, or will be our bread and butter, that they also require the same visibility. So these are some of the things that we will be here to help trade on it, and then help to create that seamless logistic that we can build this hub structure.
That's awesome. You just emphasize in two elements, technology and the free zones. I believe the Minister, Engineer Saleh Al-Jasir, yesterday he mentioned that there will be open 18 free zones. It will be open soon. Engineer Turkey, technology plays a crucial role in enabling cross-border trade. How can digital solutions or platforms from Ilm make Saudi ports more accessible for trades in Africa and Asia?
Great question, Doctor. Actually, as my colleague mentioned, as my colleague mentioned, actually, because Saudi Arabia is one of the most fast-growing markets in the world. So many traders actually this is attracting more the traders to be part of the growing is an opportunity in Saudi Arabia. Because of that, Ilm is focusing to create solutions, not just providing the efficiency actually, but to also make them accessible for traders internationally to access the systems and solutions, mainly and especially for our neighbors from Asia and Africa. By leveraging technology, Saudi ports become competitive and a key hub for cross-border trades. And for this, we are focused on four main aspects here. Number one, the real-time access, provide traders with a real-time information on vessel movement, for example, customs processes and port availability, and much more information for them to be accessible. Number two, the automation and streamlined process, reduce the dependency on manual processes, promoting speed, accuracy, and efficiency of the ports. Number three, compliance with the global standardization. We are comply and follow the trade regulations. This will promote will enable fostering the clients and customs clearance procedures. Number four, the connectivity, ensure the solutions seamless connect with global trade networks, enhancing the accessibility and compatibility of Saudi trades in Africa and Asia and the international as well.
Thank you. Leaders, we have about 10 minutes left in this session. So let's take the opportunity to ask you a question about how will hosting the 2030 World Cup impact maritime operation and ports. Let's start with you, Paul.
Well, first of all, I'm sure that this will be the biggest show on earth that here built. So, I mean, Saudi Arabia has proven that they can pull off some big events, and I'm sure this will be the top of the top. So that's good. Secondly, I hope that the best team will win, and that's going to be my team. I'm not going to tell who's my team. And then I think from a logistics perspective, of course, it's a massive event. Not only does be a lot of infrastructure that has to be built that is going to get a lot of cargo moving into the kingdom, but also, you know, with the hundreds and thousands of people who's going to show up here, they will need to be serviced. They will need to see something. They will give a new perspective on the kingdom that not only will be on the 1 month of tournament, but, you know, the year after, that opportunity to show the world what Saudi Arabia is all about, that will be a unique opportunity. So we will see more cargo coming in and moving out again. And we will be increasingly excited about 2034. 34, yeah.
Sure. Shihab, would you like to add anything to it?
Congratulations to the kingdom on a wonderful achievement and a wonderful milestone. Everybody's super excited about it. Everything that Paul said, I think the business part is straightforward. There's going to be, increased imports on making sure that there's the infrastructure from the stadiums to the number of beds and hotels and entertainment facilities and transportation facilities. So there's going to be a significant investment in that for sure. You know, usually an Olympic award, you know, lands on a city and then the city gets that upgrade, but then a World Cup lands on a country and then you get it across different. So I think also it will be very exciting to see how that impacts other cities as well, not the big three, but even the smaller cities and the medium cities. I think that's wonderful. So I think there's just, there's just so much excitement around that. Everything that Paul said as well.
And you will also support my team?
Yeah, if your team is Egypt, I'm supporting it for sure.
Unless he knows your team. Jay.
I'm going to support Saudi Arabia. I've supported England and been disappointed so many times. I just can't do that again. But I echo my congratulations, and I was in King Abdullah Port in the last World Cup when we had a national holiday because of the performance of Saudi Arabia. So that was fantastic. And in my time, I've had the great pleasure of seeing Formula One, golf tournaments, America's Cup. In King Abdullah Port, we run this employee scheme called A Great Place to Work. I'm sure hopefully some of you are familiar with it. So it's adapting your work policies and practices to make sure your workplace is exciting. But I think Saudi Arabia will be a great place to live. And it sounds coy to say that, but if I look at the workload that we're expected to achieve in the next 10 years, that's a lot.
Yes.
People are going to have to work hard. There will be disruption on some of the road networks in terms of our plans in order to build these facilities. But I think it will be a great place to live. And the spotlight will be on Saudi Arabia. And I'm sure Saudi will be able to rise to that challenge. And I think will be a positive experience that will lead to investors around the world that Saudi Arabia needs, building their confidence and saying, we want to be part of this great place to live. With all these projects, the stadiums and expo and sporting events coming, we want to bring our expertise, our investments, and we want to be part of this great place to live. And I think it will be a transformative event. Sure. Hopefully that legacy will last for a long time.
Sure. Thank you. We are glad to hear that you are ready to operate for and to face what is coming in the next 10 years. Turkey, would you elaborate from the perspective of digital? How could you help?
Of course, first of all, actually we are thrilled to have the World Cup and coming to Saudi Arabia, and I hope we won the cup against all countries. So yeah, this actually this is a good opportunity for Saudis to grow and grow and grow, because you know this kind of attractions will attract the investments from over the world. So
Yes.
this is a real opportunity for us in Saudi to have more infrastructure, spend more in areas related to the let's say development overall, and it's really a great opportunity for Saudis. We have World Cup, we have also Expo in 2030. So those two big attractions is really critical for Saudis to build their capabilities as well in those things. And also this is really give let's say a responsibility for us to build our solutions to be accessible, to be really global standards, to be really up to the level of the let's say the world class stuff we are coming in the couple of years.
Our esteemed leaders, the time runs so fast. I would like to thank you for your insightful discussion. At the end, it is clear that Saudi ports have a bright future ahead with a huge business opportunities. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.